All right, this seems like a very simple example, but it illustrates a very important concept that we're going to be talking about today. So this example just asks if you're driving at a constant rate of 60 miles per hour for 2 hours, how far have you traveled? Well, that's pretty straightforward. Now, I'm gonna make I'm gonna give you the long answer, okay? Um, so, if you're traveling for 2 hours. So here's hour one, here's hour two. After 1 hour, you've gone 60 miles, right? So we could plot that point. After 2 hours, you've got another 60 miles, so we're at 120 miles, right? So I could plot that point. So our distance over time looks like this nice straight line here. So this is distance, and this is time. Okay. So, and we could write an expression for this. Distance is equal to 60t. Essentially, the speed is the slope of this line. Okay. So 60 is how fast we're traveling. Just take that times the number of hours we've traveled, and we can find our displacement, at least from our displacement from wherever we started. All right. Now, I could also graph the velocity over time, right? I'm going to graph the velocity over time. So here's velocity, here's time. This is a really boring graph. Basically, we're going 60 miles per hour, right? So that's there, and the graph of velocity is just it's just a straight flat line, right? So let's say this is 1 and this is 2, and so that's the graph of velocity. But the thing I want you to notice is that the area under this curve, the area, no, it's not a curve, it's just a line, but we can consider it a curve. The area under this curve is the distance, all right? If you take 60, so we know that the distance is equal to the velocity times time. So we take 60 times 2 and we get 120 miles, right? That's our answer. But we can also recognize that we can also represent the distance as the area under the velocity curve, right? If you look at this, it's just a rectangle, right? It's just a rectangle. The width here is 2 units, right? So this width is 2 units, and the height here is 60. All right. So to find the area, it's just 60 times 2. So the area equals 2 times 60, right? So 2 times 60, which is 120. And that is the distance. So this is the distance. Okay. So that's the concept I want you to understand, is that the displacement is the area under the velocity graph. All right, so there's one concept from this whole chapter that I want you to understand. It's that the displacement is the area under the velocity graph. All right, I'll meet you in the next example.